This was my last chance to come here. The exterminators won't do anything, and every doctor in the town tells me I am completely sane. But this is getting out of hand. This is not normal. They told me this place would help me. Honestly, I never thought to be the sort of guy to listen to chat forums, but honestly, I have no other choice. Just anything to ease the itch. Just through that door at the end of the hallway, wait in there and somebody should come to you soon. The receptionist responded with an overly cheerful presence for her drooping under eyes. She gives me a smile as I turn my back to her. I feel her eyes still on me. I step into a hallway that could just as well be an escape room by the lack of natural light and ominously stained wallpaper decorating the otherwise empty space. At least these walls are quiet. The door at the end of the hallway reads Emotive Curator, an odd occupation which I find myself repeating aloud. No job with such an abstract name could be anything but a scam. Anyway, my reasoning has been muffled by the pure exhaustion from countless sleepless nights, so I step forward. The only thing that made me walk over was the fact that the service was told to be entirely free. Before I even managed to raise my hand to knock on the door, a slender-looking man with unkempt hair and sweater steps out. His tired brown eyes looked at me with surprisement behind his very out-of-fashion glasses. "Oh, you must be the patient. John, right?" He speaks as if he had been awoken from a tough workday of daydreaming. "Yes. How did you—" "Step inside, if you may. Make yourself comfortable. I will be with you in just a second," he says in an almost automatized voice and smiles at me awkwardly. Just going out for a smoke," he adds and waves a box of cigarettes, trying to explain himself. The office smells musty. Cardboard mixed with coffee and the stillness of a lack of fresh air. This office had no windows either, but it had a door. Otherwise, I wouldn't have noticed it, but it seemed an awfully impractical placement for a door. Anyway, I take a seat on the slightly worn-off leather sofa. Between me and a chair in front of me lays a coffee table with 2 cups. On the table there is a thin folder that reads, John Walker. I resist the urge to peek inside. Walls covered in cramped bookcases full of documents. Behind me, a corkboard with mental health posters from the 90s B, the infuriating ticking behind me. The seconds must be slower in this room or it's just too quiet. The man enters the room finally. "Sorry to keep you waiting." He tosses the pack of cigarettes on his desk, lying in the corner. I mumble, "It's fine," as he sits down and takes out a pen and paper. "Now then, where should we begin? You can just start when you're ready." "Start what?" He takes out a recorder and places it on the table. "Why are you here? What's bothering you to come here? Don't worry, all of this is confidential." He sounds empathetic, but his appearance feels off. "Right. Well, I moved to a new apartment a few months ago after I broke up with my girlfriend. The apartment was cheap and in a good enough condition to stay while I gathered the money to find a new place. This was only meant to be temporary. The landlord had said that there had been a bug infestation a few years back, but it had been taken care of, and otherwise this apartment should be entirely well preserved. And sure, it seemed like it. I finally felt like I was ready to take my life back. I found a new job that paid a lot better than the minimal wage gigs I've been doing until that. And it was nice to enjoy the peace and not argue every evening about the most insignificant thing. I didn't need to worry about what to order for dinner or the wet clothes forgotten in the washing machine. In the evenings, when I was trying to sleep, I heard a rattling in the walls. It wasn't a surprise to anyone that a flat this cheap wouldn't have rats in the walls. After all, it was the end of October. I briefly mentioned the noise to my landlord, but she convinced that there was nothing to worry about. Still, I noticed the food in my fridge started to rot strangely quickly and the air feeling weirdly humid inside. The whole flat began to smell slightly rotten all the time. Every time my mom visited, even she complained about the funky smell. I called an exterminator because the smell was getting out of control. I know I'm not the cleanest of guys, but I don't live in filth. Well, anyway, the smell left for a while. Supposedly there had been a small rodent rotting behind the wall next to the boiler room.